Hey everybody, welcome to episode 116, Dust Off Your Brains, because this is a mindset episode, but let's drop that beat first. Hey Ken.
Yo, what up everybody?
How dusty is your brain?
Not dusty, but it's thawing.
Thawing out, right? It's finally warming up, isn't it?
Golly. So I just checked the weather. 63 degrees outside.
Wow. I bet that feels like 90 degrees compared to what it's been.
Yeah, 100%. Like getting out of Orange Theory earlier when we were working out. Golly, it was summer.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because it's thawing out, everything's wet, right? Because all the snow's melting and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
So what about there? How's the weather?
Yeah, it's not quite that warm, but it is a lot warmer. And I actually had a funny experience yesterday because this is maybe one of the only downsides, that and the overhead cost, but one of the downsides to having all my inventory off-site and at my, what I call the shop, it's still an e-basement, but it's not at my house, is that when everything was just covered in snow for almost 3 full weeks. It was just not melting because it wasn't warm, it had kind of iced over. Anyway, so over at the shop, I have my whole own parking lot and entrance. It's a walkout basement, which is amazing because I never have to carry things up and downstairs. Well, while the snow was here like that,
oh, you had to
parking
shovel
lot.
everything?
Well, that parking lot didn't get plowed. There's kind of an upstairs parking lot and a downstairs parking lot that's only for me. And I kind of told my landlord don't pay a ton of money to just have I'm the only one using it, And I kind of told her it's no big deal. I can just wait to bring all my newly listed inventory after the snow melts. But I listed so much stuff.
Yeah.
So I probably had 2 full RAV4 loads of bins to take there.
Oh, you took it already?
I took them yesterday. So it was just it was piling up and piling up. Yeah. And I was finally okay, great. I can finally get into my parking lot and to my entrance. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and take everything over there yesterday. And I was so sweaty by the time I got done loading and unloading because it was only I don't know, maybe 50 degrees, upper 40s. But I'm telling you, it did feel like summer to me because I was doing all this carrying stuff upstairs, out of my house, downstairs to my car, from my car into the shop. When that was all over with, I felt like I had worked out for an hour. So that was great. It was a great experience. I was glad I finally got to take everything over there, but it was kind of, it was perfect weather for it, but I was wow, it is much warmer than I thought it was. So.
Yep. Yeah, sun's out too, that helps so much.
Are you guys still listing a ton right now?
We are actually, well, put it this way. We just got done listing a big batch, and we kind of had to hide a lot of stuff because I had to film something for a social media partnership with eBay that's going to be coming out soon. So we had to get the basement, photo
in tip-top
ready.
Shape, yeah.
And then I think this week, before we leave out of the country, we're gonna try to do a listing blitz. Probably try to, list as many as we can before leaving. So, I think I'm trying to just slow down. Word for me. More
Is that?
Or prioritize other things, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we've been up to.
Yeah, we've kind of been alluding to the fact that we are traveling somewhere, and also as we record this is less than a week until this traveling, which we will. Right. Don't worry, we will tell you all about it in the near future. Yeah. But I always find myself the week before traveling, just kind of.
You try to be as productive as you can.
Yes, and I'm not really in my routine, but I'm kind of doubling down on just getting stuff done in advance so that when I come back, it's not, it's a whole different protocol for pre-travel. So I'm definitely in that right now too. Yeah. But, this is a great time, hopefully for all of us, for a mindset episode. I don't know that we've really explicitly done a mindset episode yet this year. And so that's why I'm like only half kidding about dusting off our brains. But this is a really great topic that if you ever took like a psychology class, you've probably heard of these terms. But we're going to talk about it and see how it applies to us as resellers and in our businesses. So I think you're going to like it a lot. I feel like I already know how you feel about it because I know you really well.
For everybody that's listening, I don't have a clue about this topic.
Ken has no notes in front of him.
Yeah, so this is winging it and Anna teaching me it live. And hopefully, real time. You guys follow along. And there's this thing that I don't know. I don't know if this will relate, but my take personally, when you told me about this is a mindset episode, I was like, man, like I feel like I need this the most because this winter is probably the coldest winter it's ever been.
Yes, and it is almost over.
Right? So I've never really kind of like believed the winter blues, but I'm just like, man, that cold.
They came for you this year.
Yeah, it's trying, you know, and it's just like, I feel like I have to like keep pushing it away. So I think I'm ready definitely for a mindset shift episode. Let's do it.
Well, that's even more perfect than I thought. And
okay.
Just for those of you who maybe haven't listened since the beginning or don't know us personally and our personal stories at all, I have a pretty serious background in psychology. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm not practicing right now and haven't been for years since I closed my practice years and years ago to do eBay full time, but I still am super interested in all things psychology. I love helping people. I love the ideas that can really transform how we operate in our lives, right? So this is one of those really fundamental ones. And like I said, I also used to teach psychology undergrad classes like a lot. So this is a classic Psych 101 topic. And again, you've probably heard it before, but I just encourage you to like listen with the ear of a reseller and how this applies to you and how you see your business, because a huge foundation of all of this that we're going to be talking about is your perception. So are you ready to get into it?
Let's do it. I'm ready. We all going to learn today.
We're going to learn so much about your locus of control. Okay. So that is the actual topic, the locus of control. And so let me tell you a little bit about this. Like, why does this matter? Okay.
Locus means, like, let's spell locus.
Yes, it's not a bug.
Okay, it's not the locust.
It's not the locust. Yes. Okay. Locus is Locus. So when you hear that word, think about location, right? Okay. It's the place. It's the place or like the seat of your sense of control.
Okay.
So where do you place that? And there's basically a spectrum with two ends, and it's internal to external. Okay. So I'll tell you more about that and why it's a spectrum in a little bit. But this is a really important thing to consider because, and you've probably seen this, Ken, in people, right? But especially in the reseller community, two people can experience the exact same setback on paper, right? Right. And one person takes it and runs with it and grows, and the other person lets it be their excuse to quit, or they spiral, or they stagnate, and they were hit with the same problem, right?
Right.
So why is that? Why don't we all have the same results from the same setbacks? And really the idea of the locus of control is the idea that how we perceive events and the story that we tell ourselves about them or how we explain them really shapes our response, our motivation, our ability to be resilient and manage stress. So it really applies to so many things in life. But again, we're trying to look at it through our reseller lens, of course. So it affects so many areas. This term, locus of control, has been around since 1966. A psychologist named Julian Rotter coined it. And again, like think about the locus being the location or like the point or the place or the seat, right? It's where your sense of control lives. And internal is one side of the spectrum. And the kind of general thesis of that side is my actions influence my outcomes. Like, I have agency, right? I can control this. I have a sense of influence over these outcomes. The external side says that outcomes are determined by luck, fate, other people's choices. They're products of the system that we're in. Mm-hmm. And basically, I have very little agency or very little control over those outcomes.
Right.
And it's really important to note that this is not like a black and white like personality label. It's not like there's externalizers and internalizers. Like we all do this to some extent with a lot of different areas of life, but it is a spectrum. So sometimes we have a stronger internal sense, sometimes we have a stronger external sense, maybe depending on the context or the situation. And so it's not like a personality type, right? Like sometimes you'll hear about like introverts and extroverts. It's not
more
like
a reaction to a situation, and realizing or not realizing that there are things that are in your control and outside of your control.
Right.
And from what I've kind of like just gathered, like, I guess it could play out to even the seasonality of the weather of your business, that you could lean into more of like, kind of like, I guess, hedging and using it as an excuse, or trying to use it as motivation to propel you to the next, level.
Right. Well, and we'll talk more about this later on too, but as with most things that are on a spectrum, even if kind of at face value, one side looks like the right way, I guess, and the other side looks like the wrong way, they can both go wrong in their own ways. So can like, it can be overdone in both directions. Right. So we'll talk about that too. But just to kind of make this a little more concrete, let's talk about some examples. Okay. So here's like a work setting example. Okay. Let's say, Ken, that you were going to give a presentation at eBay Open and you bombed it. How would you explain that to yourself if you have an internal locus of control, and so your idea is, my actions control the outcomes? How would you explain that situation?
I would just go into like extreme ownership of blame, like, you dummy, you didn't prepare enough.
Shaming yourself.
I would shame myself so much, because also too, probably in the situation, the people around me is going to be like, oh, it's not that bad. Right? Like, kind of like, if I feel...
But I know deep
you were
inside, there.
I was like, golly, what was I thinking? Right? That's kind of like because, I don't know, you tell me more about it.
Yeah.
Is this just the post or the after effect that we, that we can activate this?
I mean... Well, because it's so much about... No, it's not. So that's a good question. But because it's so much about outcomes, you're either like looking at the outcome that just happened, or you're looking to the future possible outcomes, right? So like, for example, like, and what you just described was a great example of a pitfall of really strong internal locus of control, which is you might shame yourself, or you might be beating yourself up unnecessarily, right? But so you can like look at the outcome of that like poor performance and go, oh my gosh, I bombed it. That was my fault, right? But then also in the same breath, you can look ahead and go, okay, so next time, what am I going to do different? Right?
True.
If you have no control over that situation, why would you bother asking, what can I do different next time? You know what I mean?
That's true.
So then let's flip it to the other side. What if you have an external locus of control, and you bombed the presentation? What might you say about it?
So saying like, oh, this, now I know what not to do.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Well, that's still kind of you taking ownership. You're such a take ownership person. It's going to be hard for you to think of examples. Let me just give you the other side. Okay. The other side of this one might be like, man, that was a tough crowd. Or like, eBay gave me such a stupid topic to talk about, right?
Yeah. It was like, why did we have to film it in the morning?
Right.
Like, I'm not a morning person. Okay.
Yeah, like that, right? My coffee must not have been caffeinated enough. I was ripped off.
Like they gave me a decaf instead of...
It was rigged, right? right? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
So then it's like the good news, bad news is, it's not your fault. But the bad news, that's the good news, kind of, in a way. But the bad news is there's nothing you can do about it. Right?
Golly, that is tough for me to think.
It's tough. I know. Okay, so let's do another one.
Okay.
Let's do another example that's not like work. Let's talk about like health and working out, because you're very familiar with that too. So think about okay, this time I'm going to give you the one that you would come up with easily, and you can try to give me the external one. Okay. So internal locus of control, say, is like your attitude about going to the gym today, right? Okay. Internal locus of control might say, hey, my choices affect my long-term health, right? Okay. Everything I do today is going to like compound and benefit me tomorrow. And, my taking care of my body today is going to make a huge difference in my life. Mm-hmm. What would external locus of control say?
External would
about
be
going
like,
to the gym.
Is it a positive? Am I thinking? Oh, no, it's like the weather. The weather's not the perfect time to go to the gym right now.
Well, maybe think more along the lines of like, why bother go to the gym? Like, think about it this way. If your action of going to the gym has an impact on the outcome, then you believe you have internal locus of control. So the opposite of that would be external locus of control, saying, what I do doesn't make a difference.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe what else could you attribute? If I'm going to have good health in the future, it's going to be because of what?
Oh, it's going to be like, oh, my genetics are fine.
Right. Yeah, exactly right.
Like I don't know anybody in my family that died of a heart attack or something like that.
So there's no point in working out. I'm fated to whatever body I get when I'm 20 years old. Yeah,
that is
not your nature, right?
It's not my nature, but I know there's been instances, right? Like for example, like the hustle bee in our first 3 years of business, I would have been like, hustle bee never slept, never ate good, never exercised, and just went too crazy all out. Right? But like my external locus of control probably like, oh, like I'll diet later, or kind of like, oh, I have 30 years to live, let me sacrifice 2 right now, or something like that. Like, kind of like just making an excuse to push something further out, to excuse my inability to prioritize my health currently.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, or maybe you'd be telling yourself these 2 years don't really matter. Right. Ultimately, that's not going to move the needle on, my overall health outcomes or whatever.
We kind of use like, oh, I'm still young. Right. I'm not going to have that problem. I think that's kind of like what I use.
Yeah.
Like kind of that's too far. Like, why am I looking into my health? Like, that sounds like a 50-year-old problem or something like that.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about the difference here between internal and external locus of control, and again, it's a spectrum. Right. Like you said, there's different times and places in life where you might be more inclined to lean one way or the other, but which side of the spectrum do you think makes it easier to learn from your mistakes?
Oh, definitely the internal. Definitely the
or maybe not even mistakes, but just failure, right? Like, what if something external does happen to you, but you still have to choose. You still have more of a choice than you think, really, about how you're going to explain that to yourself and how you're going to take ownership of the pieces that you have control over, right? Yeah. So if you're willing to go, okay, this happened to me, but it's my responsibility to move forward. So what can I learn from it, right?
Yeah, that's kind of like the mindset that, I think currently what I want to live in. Yeah. There are, for example, like we set up a time, right? Like, let's say like, oh, I have to submit this proposal, by next week. And then I realized that next week is the busiest week of our year. And and there's nothing I could do, right? So basically, either I just suck it up that moment, and then learn from that experience. Like, oh, next year, nothing's happening that week,
Right.
you
We're
know.
blocking
So
that off. Yeah.
yeah, you block that off, which is kind of like from kind of like what I'm kind of just learning from it is it's like having a long-term perspective or your vision.
Right.
That yes, there might be some snags right now, but I'm thinking like the next 2 or 3 years, this snag's not happening again, because if I take control of the future,
yeah,
and learning from this, it's not gonna happen again. So,
right. And
that's kind of how I get it.
Scheduling is a really good example, because I feel like so many people, myself included, who have like a self-directed schedule, right? Maybe especially if you're working, reselling full time, you make your own schedule, which is such a blessing and such a curse. And it's easy to feel victimized by your own schedule.
That's true.
And forget that, like, hey, I made this schedule. Like, I have the power to say yes or no, or to say I overcommitted, or to say my expectations or my goals weren't realistic, right? Like, but that's some humble pie. Like, you have to admit that it's up to you in order to do something about it. Right. So I feel like there's a pull there for us to feel like, oh, it's happening to us. And I mean, some things genuinely do happen to us, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. But like, a lot of things are, we can influence more than we think, but we will never do it unless we believe that it's like under our influence, right?
That's true.
Like,
that's true.
Kind of like you were talking about earlier about beating yourself up, or you dummy, like, why should you do this? I just want to throw out there that it is possible with practice to have a strong internal locus of control and sense of control, and take responsibility without beating yourself up. Like, it's not really about pointing fingers and like who's at fault, but it is really about agency. And the cost of agency is taking responsibility, right?
Yeah. I think I look at it as kind of like a two-faced mode for me. It's like, okay, kind of like feel bad about it, but don't stop there.
Yeah.
You got to move on and try to think, how can I prevent this from happening again?
Right.
I think in some people might like again, it's different, right? Like, I'm the person that I want to feel bad about it. Like, I'm not like, and that's where like I feel like in a lot of things I'm very logical, but in failures I want to use all the emotions I have and pour into like, golly, dude, like,
make those work for you,
right? Like, and then I kind of use that and be like, okay, you got your emotions out, switch to the logical side and be like, okay, how can we prevent this from happening again?
Right. Well, and I think it's more clear, at least in the way I'm presenting this, because I think we're both biased a little bit towards internal locus of control, that the dark side of external locus of control is that, you have a victim mentality, or you end up having a low amount of agency in your life because you don't believe you can do anything that will matter, right? Or that can move the needle. But on the other side of it, the harder thing to accept, or the harder thing to see, for those of us who have more of internal locus of control, is that we can be over responsible, right? We start feeling guilty for things we can't control. Right. We can't let ourselves off the hook for something that actually wasn't up to us, and we burn ourselves out because we won't yield, right?
Yeah.
So there has to be a balance still.
Yeah, there is, and I don't know if this is part of it. Like, what if the goal or the task is so big that I sometimes kind of just chuck it to like, oh, that's impossible,
right?
Or like, that's never gonna happen, or like, then I blame like, oh, the market's not ready for it. Let's just say like, think like, what if I have like this crazy good idea about a cross-listing tool that actually delist. Oh, this is cool example. Like, this has been stewing in my head, and I haven't even told Anna about this, right? Because you know how like we try to cross-list to different platforms, but there's
some of us try.
There's no,
some of us refuse to try,
and there's there's just no tool to there's no tool that actually delists products, right? And I don't know anything behind the backend or API integration on how difficult this is.
Yeah.
But in my head, I've always been like, dude, why don't you just make it for yourself, right? That's just the internal me of taking control. But also, my other side says like, dude, that's such a big project. Like, you're not a tech guy, right? Like, then I'm blaming a lot of things that are outside of my control per se. Like, oh, the market's not ready. There's not enough resellers that's gonna use it.
You're just talking yourself down,
right? Or
with
like
all
out
the
of
things
it,
that
right?
you can't control.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of like just the right. Like, is that a devil's advocate for what people would say, or kind of just like you play into believing or trying to make yourself to not believe it? That way you don't have to do the hard work,
right?
And I think that's a lot of times the struggle.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like, and why are we even hemming and hawing about it? Because we're afraid of something, whether it's failing or being rejected or getting overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, huge project, you feel out of your depth on it. And yet you have this persistent idea.
Yeah.
And so you're trying to determine what you're trying to actually do when you're hemming and hawing like that is you're trying to do the right thing, which is discern what's in my control and what is not in my control. And therefore, like, how much does it make sense to step forward or not? Or in what way does it make sense to?
I guess in some ways, it's kind of like I'm looking at it as a survival kind of mindset, right? Like, is this going to end my business or not, right? Or is it, and I think it's kind of like innate in human nature that, like, all of a sudden when we fear something, we always take it to the extreme of like, oh, this is going to put me out of business. I'm going to be homeless. And, like so much extreme stuff. Like, dude, like, you're not betting your whole business on this one. Your job is to just find a developer.
Right. Okay. So, and that is a great example of something I really want to point out, because we are not Delulu around here. There are things that are out of our control, right? Yeah. And it's really important to be able to recognize that, like, realistically and logically, like you were talking about, because there are systems that matter, that affect us every day, every decision, our situations. There's socioeconomic factors. There's, systemic discrimination against people of many varieties. There are we might have health conditions that we can't really control, right? You're not a tech guy. Like, could you become a tech guy? Yes, but are you willing to do what it takes to become a tech guy just to do this project? No. Right? So while you can't control that with a magic wand, or you can't control the whole system or the whole circumstance that might be impeding you, you can control how you navigate it. And pretending that you are a tech guy or pretending that the system is fair is not the same thing as actually having agency. That's
a good call out.
Yeah, you have to use that perspective and that internal locus of control that you do have to decide, like, how can I navigate these factors, right? If you can't change them, how can you navigate them?
Yeah, that's so true too. Kind of like even different opportunities as a reseller, right? Like, we joke around like, I'm just a sneaker guy, right? And
sneakers.
And in the beginning, right, like that was really it, right? Like, that's really what I know, and that's kind of just like what was in my control, right? Like, I know where to find this stuff. And then perfect example, I've always didn't want to sell clothing because they're a pain to take a photo of. Right. And I'm like, yeah, but are they really that painful, right? Like, and it,
or is that an excuse?
Right. Or like, was that a valid excuse, right? And it's just like, to now, we could list more quantities and items because of clothing.
Like, vastly more.
Right. And store more, right? Like, because my when I did a calculation, I could only like store, 4,000 units of footwear in my basement, and that would have capped me because like my internal thought was like, this is all and this is the fastest way aka the easy way for me at that certain, situation.
That point in time, yeah.
Right, but also like when opportunity presents, like, okay, you have an opportunity to buy clothing wear that, maybe same ROI or even better ROI. Now I'm thinking in my head like, oh man, that's gonna be hard to list, hard to measure, and everything like that.
Right.
So I guess we all play that kind of like scenario in our head when an opportunity gets presented, and because at the end of the day, like we have to face. I mean, I hope we all face an opportunity that we're not familiar with, and I feel like most just run away from it because they just use all the excuses they can to not take that opportunity because of the quote unquote hard and work and not familiar with.
Well, and I think it's important to know how to ask good questions if you want to improve your sense of locus of control and you want to move more towards internal and away from external. First of all, it's an easy test. Look at any situation in your life, explain it out loud, and listen to your own language. Like, where is the finger pointing, you know?
That is
like
funny.
There will be a dead giveaway in there.
Yeah.
But also, wanting to move more towards internal, sometimes what you need to ask yourself, like I love this example with you deciding maybe it is worth exploring, like selling apparel, right? Because even though you've had these valid, I would call them reasons.
Yep.
You were compelled to re-examine those reasons and see and kind of test them, right? Well, is it really that bad? Could I learn it? And would it be, after you master it, it's just the same as anything else you already know how to do proficiently, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes the question is more like, am I willing to do what it takes to actually try that?
Yeah.
Or am I not? Like, maybe you're not willing to become an app developer, but maybe you are willing to learn how to love taking measurements of clothes.
Right. But yeah, that is so true. But also, like, that question that you said, like, am I willing? That's such a hard question to say because...
Hard question to be honest about.
Exactly. That. I think that's where I was going,
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us, just to feel good, we would always want to feel like the expert and not the rookie about certain things. I mean, most things, really. And then we get to a point that, oh, I know that. Or, like, we pretend that, oh, like, yeah, I've tried clothes before. They're not it. Like, like, you tested 10 items and you just sucked at sourcing. It wasn't really even the process of listing clothes. It was just the product yourself, right?
Yeah.
So that is very eye-opening that we all have to ask ourselves. And I think I'm slowly getting to that point to where I'm openly can loudly say that, yeah, it's a great opportunity, but to be honest, I'm just not willing to do that.
Right.
Like, it's kind of weird. I don't know, is it snobbish, right? But also realizing that, golly, like, that's going to take X amount of hours.
Right.
X amount of time, X amount of focus, of energy. It's more of like realizing, like, yes, there's no such thing that you're not going to take away effort and energy from the thing that you're running right now. Let's just say, right, like my eBay store. What if I say, Glenn says, like, oh, can help back on whatnot? I would be foolish to say, it's like, oh, I got 2 extra hours. I'll put it in right there. Like, no, because that 2 hours takes away some time.
Right. That could be spent somewhere else. I mean, honestly, that if you're being really honest with yourself about it and really aware of all that, I mean, you're essentially just managing your resources wisely.
True.
And, you have to be a little crazy to run your own business, but not a lot crazy, right? Like, not totally delusional. So if you go, okay, I'm looking at this opportunity and I've weighed it out in my mind and I know that I don't have the capacity, or maybe if we're being really honest, just don't have the desire to do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's okay. Like, not everything has to be in your wheelhouse or has to be interesting to you. Like, you can just say, that's not for me. Right. But I think that's a great question to ask yourself. Am I willing? Another great question to ask yourself is, what part of this is under my influence or kind of in my control, and what part of it isn't? just to clarify, like, how much agency can you have maximally in this situation? Also, what's maybe one small action you can take, right? If you're feeling like, oh my gosh, there's nothing I can do about it, try asking yourself that. Like, well, what's one thing that I could do that could, like, make an impact? And another kind of suggestion I have, again, for people who are wanting to move more towards a stronger internal locus of control, is to focus, and we talk about this all the time on the podcast. It's funny how much of this just shows up in our conversations naturally, but focusing on goals that are process related and not just outcome related.
That's true.
Like that will totally, if you're paying attention, will totally build up your sense of agency. Like, oh, I hit my goal of listing rather than I hit my goal of
sales
revenue, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and I like to track both, but I know that where I could sit around and, you know, tinker with my numbers all day, and that's not going to make more things sell. But listing is. So recognizing where your agency actually comes into play is really important. And then also, you're really good at this, Ken, debriefing about a failure or an underperformance after it happens. Like, what can you do with that? What went well? What can you adjust? What was in your control? What wasn't in your control? Like, how am I going to make sure we don't have this snag again next year? What's it like? I just want to ask you, because I know you regularly practice that. If something doesn't go the way you want or the way you expect, what's it like to process that and move forward from it? Because some people, like, honestly, they refuse to do it.
Yeah,
it's much easier to be a victim and to go, that wasn't in my control but it feels terrible, right? It feels terrible to be a victim, but it lets you off the hook.
Yeah, it's so easy to do that. Kind of like just, this is the word that kind of like irks me the most. This is the way we've always done it.
Yep.
Like, that one's such the opposite of never settle mentality that even me and my wife, JC, have in like business internal talks, and every now and then we have to ask ourselves, or we catch ourselves, no, this is always how we've done it. And then I'm like, wait,
no, we said the magic words.
Right, like, or like, it's like, and again, I'd say this all the time, a lot of us discount the pace and the ability for us to learn and improve. Yeah. Whether you do it intentionally or not, the moment you do more reps of the same thing, like shipping, like listing, you eventually get better, and the bottleneck shifts to something.
Yeah, shift somewhere else. Right?
So yeah, for example, like we got to a point that we're like, I think we're at the listing speed that we're at right now. It's really peak right now. Like our listing, there's probably only a few seconds that we can shave off.
Yeah,
and
pretty optimized.
Right, pretty optimized. But the crazy part is, the process is like, okay, we take a photos and we put stuff here, right? We put stuff on this table. And what we found out that, oh golly, this table gets filled up quicker now. And then I'm like, and then if something sells, then we have to dig through that pile in the table, which if you just listed it, right? Which breaks the system of us knowing where they are, because before, when we only could list 50 items a day, 50 is manageable. We can rack it the same day. Yeah. Now, if we list 200 and it piles up, something sells, it's so hard to find it. Yeah. So now, the evaluation that we had to say, like, again, this is always we've done it. We put in the stable. Like, wait, but we've gotten way better now.
You're outpacing yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's what a lot of people discount. So when we say about, like, evaluating your failures or, like, trying to improve upon something, it's not usually like, oh, you mistakenly put the wrong size. It's not that, right? Like that. And I call it, like, those are rookie mistakes. Like, you gotta find like the mistakes or the bottlenecks that are more advanced. So now what we've done is we only list items that have a place for it in the rack. So now before we even list, we rearrange, we consolidate.
Yeah.
So for example, for our clothing, one of the hardest things to store and find is clothing items, because you could put 100 items in one box and you gotta know which box it's in. So now when JC lists clothing, she pulls an empty box and only fills it with what goes in there.
Yep.
Before doing more.
That's what I do too. And it's like, then I'm right there adding the bin number into my information about that item, and I don't have to touch it twice.
Right. So yeah, because like we've had times like where we list so many, then we just put it on the floor or put it in a random box. Then we have to split the box again because the box is too big. It doesn't have a place. Right. So that's more of like, I would say, we do it so often that it's part of the process now.
Yeah.
Which
it's
is
like,
kind of like
oiling the machine, right?
Yeah.
Like you hear that phrase all the time, a well-oiled machine. Yeah, well, that's oiling the machine.
Yeah, and that's kind of like crazy, even like how we've developed the photo booth for the shoes, or basically for anything not clothing item. Like now I've got it to a point that I just click 2 switches and I'm ready to take photo. Yeah. There's no more changing angles or stuff like that. It's on a standing desk, because there are times that I like to stand, there are times I like to sit down. So like those are just 2 things that the external excuse goes away. It's like, oh, my back hurts, I can't sit down, or I can't stand. I'm like, bro, like there's the button there, put it there.
Change your position.
Yeah, change the position. So
totally.
So I think that's kind of like you said, like oiling the machine, and again, like, and I think that's what I like about the business, right? Because it's never that mundane, because in my head I was like, okay, always something can be done differently, and always something could be done better. So
improving
that's kind of
the craft is very satisfying.
Yeah, and again, that's where you get a lot of the self-fulfillment.
And
I feel like when my self-fulfillment bucket or my cup is low, that means I've just done the same. I've done the same thing for 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, golly, like it's been 2 weeks. I haven't done anything differently. Like my self-fulfillment is really low at that
You're
point.
like bored.
Yeah.
See, that's why you want to like create a cross-listing.
Yeah. I'm
You're
just
like, what can I do?
Like that means I did something for 2 weeks the same. Like I'm trying to like find something differently.
So actually, this is a great opportunity to ask you some questions. I want every listener to ask themselves this question, or pretend like I'm asking you.
Right.
I am asking you.
Yeah.
But I want to actually ask you these in real time, and see what you think, because these are more good reflection questions for anybody who's just wants to understand themselves better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have optimized so much in your business.
Mm-hmm.
So you can think about this in terms of your business or in terms of your whole life, depending on how vulnerable you want to be on this podcast. Yeah. But the question is, where in your business or your life do you feel the most powerless right now?
Oh.
Or like a lack of control?
I would say relationship events, like I would say kind of like celebratory things.
Like what?
Right. Like for example, like I'm not a football fan, right? I mean I watch football, I enjoy the sport, but like, and I think I kind of made strive for it that. My sister lives with us, so me, my sister, and JC, that I intentionally took them grocery shopping and kind of said like, hey, like, what's our Super Bowl meal? Like, what's kind of like that? And like, trust me, like the past Super Bowls was just probably like, and I've cared more in the past because I watched my favorite teams play. This one's like no teams I cared.
Right. I don't think you're alone.
It was kind of weird that now that I don't care about the teams, but it's more of like, okay, can we just make this relationship building slash
like enrichment activity.
Right. Enrichment.
Fun.
Yeah. And I think that's where I feel like I don't, because I think a lot of that is planning, right? But again, that's me just blaming like, oh, I'm not a planner. But dude, like, aren't the most fun stuff spontaneous too? So let's just go do it now. So
Right.
so that's kind of like where I feel like I don't have, and again, I guess it's just out of habit that I've just never been, right? And that's just me blaming the externals, like, oh, like, I've always been just the get it done guy, like, give me one project. But remembering certain moments, like, thinking about different things. Like, for example, like, both of my parents are turning 60 this year.
Yeah.
Right? And then JC keeps asking me, like, hey, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to fly? Are you going to fly home?
And you're like, I'm not a planner. I don't
right,
know.
Right. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh, let's talk about that later.
So
And
you're
then
avoiding it.
Yeah. I'm just, later is every week. And then now I feel so
Until
anxious.
It's not, right?
Every week that comes, I'm just like, I have 1 week less to decide. So I feel like that's kind of like where,
that's a great example.
And I always blame. I was like, oh, I don't know what their plans are. I'm like, golly, dude, you're like the son. You're like the eldest kid.
Right.
Plan something, right? I was like, oh, it's my sister's. That's my sister's that planner. I'm like, so yeah, I think that's kind of like the internal debate that, like I struggle with. Like, I feel like, that's somebody's job. Like, when I feel that, I know that I'm just like pushing it off,
squirming away from it.
Yeah.
Well, such a great example. Thanks for like sharing that. That's like more of a personal thing, but it is a great example because you have like, you know what that feels like internally, right? To like be kind of squirming away from it or avoiding it. And so the next kind of question to ask yourself is, so how much of that lack of control or powerlessness is real and how much of it is just assumed because maybe that's how it's always been, or maybe you just chalked it up to, well, that's somebody else's job, or you know what I mean? Like, so like when you just said, well, I don't know what their plans are.
Right.
You know how to ask a question.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I could text them, right? Like,
you could find out, right?
I know I know. I mean, like, again, this is just internal in me that when I start doing that, like, like,
well, because then it's all made up. You, and
it's just
you
all
have
made
to,
up, right? Like, I just don't want it to be on me, right? And then again, maybe that's such a big event that I feel like that cannot fail. And if I plan it and I fail it, then I feel bad about it.
Then you'll feel terrible, right? Exactly. So, that's where the risk is. No, this is great. This is like illustrating the entire process. So would it make a difference in your life or like in that situation if you had 5% more internal locus of control and you felt 5% more like you had some agency, or 100%. That it was okay to be in charge of it?
100%. I mean, not even in charge, but even at least
start
asking the question, right? Or like,
get
what can I
rolling.
do? Right? Yeah. No, I think for example, like the one thing that I should is like get my siblings together in a group chat and be like, mom and dad's birthday planning. Right. Like, you're know, like,
my job is starting the group chat. Your job is everything else.
Right. And
who's doing what?
And I think that's the start of it, right? Because like, and now I'm thinking about it, they could be thinking the same thing.
They could be.
Right. And that's why, like, there's, again, this is what I say about an organization or a team or a partnership, that stuff doesn't get done because everybody else is assuming it's like, oh, Anna's heading this one. Oh, Ken's heading this one. Like, imagine if me and Anna just sat down every week, and Glenn, and then just like, we're just looking at each other. It's like, oh, I thought it was your turn. Oh, no, I thought it was mine.
Right.
You know, like that's what the planning is for. Like, we have a certain topic that we all pitch in. That way, if I pitched in, that means I gotta explain it. Kind of like what Anna did on this event. She pitched in, and I'm just like, okay, I don't have a control about it, this one, but I know she is. Yeah. And we've communicated that she will be.
Right. And I mean, your what you can control in this situation is showing up and participating and having the conversation, which you are. You know what I mean? A lot of times, that's a temptation that we internal locus people have, is to say, well, if it's in my influence, then I have to do it.
Okay.
But sometimes,
and if I'm not leading it, then
right, then it's none of my business.
Yeah.
But what if it's something in between, like delegating or getting the conversation going, like with your siblings, like you're talking about? So I think there's a lot of like finer, shades in between.
Right.
Internal and external is more like black and white, right? But really, the sweet spot is somewhere in the middle, and maybe it still is closer to one side than the other. But that's really important to be able to ask yourself those questions and answer them honestly if you want things to get better, right? Or if you want to feel a greater sense and actually therefore have a greater sense of agency in your life. Yeah. Okay, what do you think about, I have a whole bunch of examples of statements that are about reselling. Okay. So do you want to do like a rapid fire?
Let's do it.
Is this internal or external?
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, everybody that's listening, join us for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool. So you've heard all of these before, I'm sure, out of people's mouths. Sales are so slow right now because eBay changed the algorithm again.
External.
How about the economy's just bad?
Yeah, the same. But also at the same time, we're in the same economy as the next dude that's killing it on eBay too.
Yeah, but Ken, that guy's undercutting me. There's nothing I can do about that.
Well, yeah, you can undercut him too.
Undercut them back. Oh my gosh. Okay, how about this? Sales are slow because I need to have better photos in my listings. Everybody else's photos look professional and mine look amateur.
External again. Because you can make your photos better.
That's right. But you're saying that you can. Like, the problem is my photos are
terrible. Yeah. You identify the problem. Yes, 100%.
Okay.
That's definitely internal, taking control of it. Yeah.
My listings just aren't optimized for how buyers are searching.
That's internal.
That's internal.
Yeah.
Great job. You're passing the test. Good job. Okay. How about let's do some with related to pricing.
Okay.
Am I pricing based on emotions or based on actual comps?
Internal.
But people just want deals. They just want everything cheap.
External.
Nice. There's just too many sellers in the market.
External.
You're crushing it. I hope you, listener, are also crushing it. Okay, how about negative feedback and returns? This is a favorite area to have to explain, to tell ourselves a story about. Do my photos show all the flaws up front?
That's internal.
That's internal. eBay always sides with the buyer.
No, that's internal. That's well, if it's a fact. If it's a fact, it's internal. You're saying it, but it never is.
Okay, let me elaborate. I have too many negative feedbacks because eBay always sides with the buyer.
Oh, that's
where's the finger pointing?
Golly.
At eBay, right?
Yeah, it's eBay. That's external. Yeah,
right. That's external. Yeah. People don't read descriptions. There's nothing I can do.
External.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do is kind of like a dead giveaway for sure.
That's true.
External.
Yeah, because there's ways to over communicate certain things, but like that certain scenario, right?
Yeah.
Where you're really just trying to sweep that defect away to kind of like blindly lead the customer that it's not there, or it's like, because I've had that before and saying like, oh, you could wash this, or the stain could be removed. I'm like, but what if it's not? Like, don't say, like, I'd rather it be like, there's a stain, it might not be removed. And you can
do with it what you want. You can try your best.
Yeah.
Right. So is it more internal or external to ask yourself, could I tweak my return policy so that there's not as much return action in my store?
Internal, yeah.
That's internal. What can I do about it, right?
Yep.
Okay. But Ken, the shipping delays are killing my metrics.
External. I can't do anything about it.
Am I choosing the right service level for the item's value?
That's internal. Trying to evaluate if there's something you can do.
What if USPS or UPS or FedEx always loses your packages?
That is external.
But true.
But there are ways because you could claim.
Right. So what do I need to build into my process to handle that problem that I can't control?
Yeah.
That's a great example of which parts can I control and which parts can't I control.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Okay, let's talk inventory. Resellers have totally ruined thrifting.
External.
Even though you're a reseller?
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
Trick question. You're right. Okay, what about some overlooked categories that I could start sourcing in?
That's internal.
But good inventory is really hard to find now.
That's internal. Because you can still do something about it.
Could I build relationships with a supplier or a liquidation source?
Internal.
Okay, let's talk ads. Promoted listings are a scam.
External.
Man, this episode would have so many great clips out of context. Just me saying, promoted listings are a scam. Ads don't even work in my category.
External. It sounds like anything that you say that's absolute.
Yes, right? It's very black and white thinking.
Yeah,
again, where's the finger pointing?
Yeah.
And it's not to say that there isn't some truth in it. And that's what makes it really hard for people to suss out sometimes because
that's true, yeah.
It's like, well, you do have to pay to play for ads now, right? But does that dictate your entire understanding of ads and how it can impact your business or not?
Yeah.
Like maybe that's too narrow of a view, right?
Yeah.
Or at least it's too narrow of a view if your goal is to be able to do something about it.
Right.
How about this question? Am I actually tracking my ROAS or am I just reacting emotionally?
It's internal.
Which of these SKUs deserves promotion based on margin?
That's
I'm
internal.
paying per click.
Yeah.
Internal. That's an internal question, right? Okay. There are so many more of these. I'm just going to pick a couple more. Let's see. How about since this is a mindset episode, let's talk about burnout a little bit. I'm just stuck doing things the same way I've always done them unless something changes.
That's external.
And what tasks should I outsource or automate?
Internal.
How can I redesign this business to actually fit my life?
Internal.
The business is just exhausting to run.
Oh, external. Unless it really is.
Right. And maybe the parentheses there is maybe it's exhausting to run the way you're currently running it. But like you just pointed out earlier in this episode, maybe your enemy is doing things, quote unquote, the way you've always done it. Right? Maybe it's true that running it this way is exhausting, but there's more than one way to run it. Yeah. Right? Okay. So the external locus of control says, the business is happening to me. I am a passenger of this business. The internal locus says this business is something I'm building and I'm the driver.
Yep. That's internal, the driver.
Yeah, internal's the driver. So I'm trying to think if there's any really good way to sort of cap this off or any final questions. I think my question for you is, what is your biggest takeaway from this and or what stands out to you the most about this idea of internal and external locus of control?
For me, I think it's the whole self-evaluation to it that if you're listening to this podcast, you have a clue. It's not like you're just riding the wave or riding the tide. You have a clue because the fact that you are actually trying to listen to a podcast that's actually going to help you and try to build a community around you and being influenced by people that try to have a level up mindset a never settle mentality. So it's more of like, how often do we evaluate ourselves, and how fast can we catch ourselves just trying to use an excuse that's so per se valid,
Yeah.
just to steer away from the fact that there's something you can do about it.
Yeah.
I think that is the ultimate gold nugget there for me, is kind of just like the moment you ask me a question, it's like, what is that lingering thing in my head? And I'm like, golly, that's it. I know that's it for this year, right? That's a family event that I know is important for me, right?
Yeah.
And for my parents and for our family. But is it really that big of a task to get my siblings together? Like, they're not strangers, you know? I'm not like thinking. So again, like, even just talking through it like that, I was like, oh, start a group chat. Let's start planning, like pitching ideas, right? Because then that actually kind of like prevents last minute things and we're not gonna make
chaos,
it
right?
Like, then it's chaos, right? So
which, and a lot of times, like, it can prevent, like, you're actually less likely to fail if you're kind of like, you have your eyes wide open, right?
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing. Like, even in our processes, I guess, like, just kind of like thinking out loud, like, this might be a weekly thing that we have to establish in our business, right? Or a weekly thing that we might have to establish within our relationships with our spouses and our family. It's like, what do you think we need more of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like trying to, again, it starts with like yourself, and once you figure out like what's the internal stuff that you have control of, then you start moving to like, okay, I got this nailed, but what are the stuff that I don't have down?
Right.
And I think that's the uncomfortable stuff.
Yeah.
But uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough that's really like it's not that deadly, or it's not that scary, really, right?
Yeah. And if you're the kind of person who catches yourself making excuses,
Mm-hmm.
and you're tempted to beat yourself up about that, just remember that A, that's human nature, and B, pro tip from a therapist and psychology professor of a lifetime past, all behavior is purposeful, which means it has served a purpose. And so even if that's how you've operated in the past, or you're catching yourself doing that, and that's a familiar pattern for you, it was serving a purpose. It was most likely, when you boil it all down, most likely it was protecting you from something.
Right.
But unfortunately, our brains do this really fun thing where they try to protect us from things that aren't real threats. Or that aren't, like you said, it's not going to kill you,
not
right?
anymore, right? Like,
or
not
it's
anymore,
not
right?
Really, you're just assuming a lot to protect yourself from something that's hypothetical. And if you actually stare it in the face, you have more agency than you think. Mm-hmm. You don't need that excuse to protect you, and you can explore other options.
Right. That is such a helpful tip, that you have to be able to catch it. I think that's the biggest thing. You just gotta catch it. And again,
first you gotta be willing to. Then you gotta be able to.
That's true. Yeah. Be willing and be able to. I think those are the two things that we have to do. And again, man, if you have this cell phone and this computer, God, I mean, we already sell on eBay. That alone should squash any external excuse to prevent us from getting to the next level, as far as learning something, as far as discovering something.
Yeah.
And
you've already come this far.
Yeah. That's what I always remind myself. Like, golly, like, we're already selling something online.
Yeah.
So, are you really afraid to list an item that might not sell? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, you can't tarnish your perfect record.
Right. Yeah. So
I love it. Well, we would love to hear your thoughts about this topic anytime. Follow us on social media, Seller Club Podcast on Instagram. We also have a wonderful sponsor, Seller Ledger, and you should totally follow them on Instagram, especially as tax time draws near. You guys, I just did all of my tax prep in like, I am not even kidding you, a tenth of the time it has normally taken me for the last 10 years to do my taxes this year. It was so fast because I finally had a full year of all my business expenses in Seller Ledger, and I was just like literally singing and skipping around my house when I got it done so fast. So please go check them out. They're an amazing resource and a great sponsor. And also, since we're having a little mindset mental health moment, I just want to shout out, totally off the cuff, our dear friend Kendall Van Gilder, who was a guest on this podcast, has started a podcast. They're brand new. I think they're like 3 episodes in, called Resale Therapy. Her and her friend Hannah, who are from the same state, and they have some really great kind of life, mental health, and business considerations in their show. So go find them everywhere you listen to podcasts, and just, we know how much on this podcast, how much it matters for, obviously downloads and follows and subscribers and reviews and ratings and all that stuff, but just go show them some love and check out their new show.
Sure. We'll put some links down below, and thank you guys for listening, and we will see you in the next episode, and we might have some special guests.
Ooh, it's gonna be awesome.
See
Bye.
Some days heavy, some days low. Some days feel like you don't know, but the truth don't live outside. It's in the choice you make inside. Blame the weather, blame the weed, blame the goals you didn't reach. Then one thought flips the key. You got more control than you see. Once you see it, it's hard to miss. Power don't shout, it whispers this. You ain't stopped, you just pause, take one step. That breaks the frost. Mindset right, now we rolling, clear eyes, new motion going, no more waiting, no delay. We decide the road we take. Mindset right, horse say rise, lift your pace, lift your eyes. Sell a club, that's the groove. We control the next Progress don't shout, it builds in time. Small right moves start to climb. One good list, one clear plan. That's how change begins to stand. Not perfection, not a race, just intention, steady pace. Every action proves it true. Future starts with what you do. If today fell slow, that's fine. Road don't run on someone else's time. Reset, breathe, begin again. That's how winners really win. Mindset right, horns blow strong. You've been ready all along. Now someday, right now's the key. That's the shift that sets you free. Sell a club, stand tall. You got more control than you thought. All right now, go make it happen. Sell a club, 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 sell a club. Sell a club.